Since the beginning of 2022, China has been facing the threat of a major economic crisis, and they have been doing their best to manage it. Still, nothing could prepare them for the new sanctions that Joe Biden's administration announced on the 7th of October 2022. The U.S. declared that it would cut off their access to U.S. microchips, and it wasn't a threat. In other words, they declared war. The Chinese government definitely didn't expect that, and they have taken it in great strides, as they have done nothing in retaliation. Although that doesn't mean they wouldn't. Anyway, that's not our major concern for now, because the question running through everyone's mind is, what does this mean for Chinese technology, and what does this mean for the global economy? China and U.S. relations have been filled with complexities forever. The presidents might shake hands and smile for the camera, but behind closed doors, they are mostly scheming against each other. It's quite understandable, as the U.S. is the world's largest economy, while China ranks closely in second place, so there would definitely be rivalry. Historically, the two countries have maintained a stable relationship because they have mutual political, economic, and security interests. But there have been periods of open conflict like the Korean War and the Vietnam War, and unresolved concerns like whether the South China Sea belongs to China, the issues with Taiwan, or the fact that China supports Russia in the Russia-Ukraine war. They have been able to maintain a cordial relationship. Well, things are about to change, and not for the good. Their relationship suffered a major strain during Barack Obama's era under his pivot to Asia strategy. Although it shifted the focus to East Asian countries as it increased its investment in the countries, it was received with mixed reactions. In Trump's era, the relationship deteriorated when he launched a trade war against China by banning U.S. companies from selling equipment to China companies and increasing visa restrictions on Chinese students, among several others. But Biden thought, go big or go home, and created foreign policies that would shake China to its core. They banned the sales of microchips to Chinese companies. It's no news that China is the manufacturing hub of the world. They produce almost everything. Yes, almost, as the reason Joe Biden's new policy stings China a lot is because they don't have enough facilities to produce as many microchips as they would want to, as they are a bit behind on that technology. But why are microchips so important? It's like asking why the brain is so important. The microchip forms the basis of all of today's electronics, ranging from computers to smartphones, home appliances, cars and aircraft components, and televisions, among several others. They all need the microchip to run efficiently. So China, a major manufacturer of the listed items, would have trouble producing these items without the microchips. According to reports, China consumes 3/4 of the microchips sold across the globe, but they produce only about 15% of it. They rely mostly on microchips imported from other countries, especially the U.S. And now that Joe Biden has cut them off, things would be very difficult. But why can't China make more microchips, you might wonder? Well, China can definitely produce as many microchips as they would like, but the thing is, they can't produce high-end chips. In the world of chips, the most advanced chip uses a 1 nanometer chip unit, and the machine that can produce such a chip is called a lithography machine. ASML, a company in the Netherlands, owns this machine. Still, a considerable number of the developers are Americans, and the country also invested so much in its development, making it America's property one way or the other. But unfortunately for China, their own lithography machine can only complete 4 nanometers, which is way less advanced than the 1 nanometer chips. As a country with advanced technology, they need high-end chips as the one ASML produces. Even if China begins working towards such advanced chips, it might take about 5 years to do it right. Experts have also revealed that it might cost about $1 trillion to do so, and certainly China doesn't have that kind of money just lying around. So why did America cut them off? In recent times, Chinese leader Xi Jinping has been pushing to take their technology advancement to the next level and to make them a stronger tech superpower. Not only the usual everyday technology aspect, but the military aspect would also be advanced. Besides that, Beijing has set a target for China with its Made in China 2025 roadmap. They plan to become a global leader in various industries, including artificial intelligence, 5G wireless, and quantum computing. Since it's China's military base, it might pose a serious threat to America. But Joe Biden said that's not going to happen, and took them back a few years with his new policies. The new policy states that Chinese companies can only get advanced chips and chip-making equipment with a license. It also prevents the ability of U.S. persons, this includes American citizens or green card holders, from helping in the production of chips at manufacturing facilities in China. The U.S. claims the decision was made to protect national security interest. In other words, they didn't want Beijing's military force to wake up one morning and decide that they were done with the U.S. and blow the country into smithereens. That sounds like a solid reason, but many think it's not just about that. They feel it's more about artificial intelligence dominance and leadership of the world economy, or else the U.S. wouldn't have taken a huge step, such as cutting them off and blocking their access to intellectual resources to make their chips. Before October 2022, the U.S. had ordered several of their country's top chip makers, NVIDIA, KLA, Lam Research, and AMD, to stop the sales of some of the technology that can be used for artificial intelligence. The companies had been told that the decision was to prevent the chips from being diverted to a military end user, and the companies complied with the hope that everything would be resolved. But it cost the companies so much, maybe about $400 million for NVIDIA. So not only will the Chinese bear the brunt of the decision, but the Americans will also get it. Talking Americans, several work as top executives in Chinese chip firms. Many of them are caught up in the whole mess and would be forced to resign from their positions. Companies like AMEC, Gigadevice Semiconductor, and Yangtze Memory Technologies have American employees, and some have asked their American employees in core positions to leave. So what impact does this Cold War, this cyber warfare between China and the U.S., have on the global economy? The decision seriously threatens major companies like Samsung, SK Hynix, and the Taiwanese company TSMC. The American company Apple intended to use memory chips from Chinese Yangtze Memory Technologies in its product, but had to put it on hold due to the new policies. According to an expert, many of the major Asia-Pacific tech companies can absorb the financial blow for about a year. Still, in the long term, the implications will become too severe to handle. Many countries rely on the goods produced in China, and if this slows down, there will be a major setback in the world's economy, which is scary. Singapore's Prime Minister, Lee Hsien Loong, has warned that the decision the U.S. has made will lead to a greater rift between the two countries and a less stable world. The Biden administration's latest move is a very serious one. I'm sure they have considered it carefully. It can have very wide ramifications, he said during a press conference in Australia. It's a no-brainer that Joe Biden's decision would affect the global economy, but many hope the policies would be relaxed. China's semiconductor industry said in a statement that it hoped the U.S. government would reverse its decision and return to its international trade negotiation procedures. The U.S. has given Chinese companies a year to get their shit together, but hopefully they will find a way to make the policy suit both countries. Even if things get resolved along the line, China will speed up the process of making its own microchips and any other product it mainly imports to avoid similar issues in the future. So, what do you think about the new policies from the U.S. government? Should it be reversed? Let us know in the comment section below, and thank you for watching till the end. Remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.